21 Secrets of the Aquarius Personality. Have you ever met someone who seemed to live just slightly outside the rules of reality? Someone who laughed at the ordinary, challenged the expected, and disappeared just when you thought you understood them? If so, you may have crossed paths with an Aquarius. But what if I told you there are 21 secrets hidden deep within the Aquarius soul? Not the zodiac cliches you've read online, but the fundamental traits. The ones you feel but can't explain. From their sacred silence to their holy sarcasm, from their love for change to their quiet, rebellious fire. This isn't just a personality breakdown, it's a spiritual decoding of one of the most misunderstood signs in the cosmos. And if you are an Aquarius yourself, you're about to see yourself in a way you may never have before. Not through labels, but through language that feels like truth. By the end of this video, you'll walk away with more than insight. You'll walk away with understanding. So stay with me until the very last secret. Trust me, the final one may just change how you see everything. But before we dive deep into the stars and stories, help us keep the cosmic conversation flowing. Tap like, hit subscribe, and share this video with fellow seekers in your life. You're watching Zodiac Whisper, where astrology meets soul. Let's begin. 2. The silent blaze. Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and felt heat without fire, tension without words? That's the kind of anger Aquarius holds. It's not loud, not violent. It's a still flame. Most people won't notice it until they already stand in the ashes. Aquarius rarely reacts in the moment. They step back, observe, internalize. Some call it detachment, but really, it's calculation. It's ancient patience. A man named Eli, an Aquarius, worked in politics. Sharp, quiet, often overlooked. For months, his ideas were dismissed in favor of louder voices. Then one day, a crisis erupted. Chaos, confusion. While others panicked, Eli stood and laid out a clear, precise plan so the entire team followed his lead without question. It wasn't anger that led him, it was alignment. That's the beauty of Aquarius. They burn clean. Their silence isn't a weakness, it's strategy. And when they speak, the world listens because they wait until every word becomes necessary. 3. The musical monk. For Aquarius, music isn't background noise, it's soul language. They don't just listen to melodies, they dissolve into them. It's where they hide when reality feels too sharp. It's where they recharge after pretending to be understood all day. You might find them in a crowded coffee shop, headphones on, eyes distant. Not disconnected, but entirely elsewhere. Somewhere sacred. Take Lena, a sound designer from Chicago, born on February 3rd. On paper, she builds frequencies, but in truth, she builds sanctuaries. Her ament is a temple of vinyl and silence. Her playlists speak when she can't. She once told me that specific notes feel like prayers, that when she plays Radiohead at 2 a.m., it's not depression, it's devotion. That's the Aquarian way. They don't cry in front of you. They cue a song that says it all. And if you're lucky enough to hear it, you're not just a friend. You're of their ritual, because music is where Aquarius doesn't have to explain anything. 4. The sacred distance. Aquarius loves distance, not because they don't care, but because closeness to them is sacred. They don't rush into intimacy. They orbit it, like the moon circling the earth, always present, always watching, rarely colliding. It's not detachment, it's reverence. To get too close, too fast, would dishonor the mystery. And Aquarius lives in mystery. There was a man named Jonah, Brooklyn-born, February 10th. His near used to ask, "Why don't you ever say I love you first?" And Jonah would smile, tilt his head, and reply, "Because I show it before I speak it." He didn't flood her phone with messages or shower her with cliches, but he memorized the way her voice cracked when she was tired. He made sure her favorite cereal never ran out, and when she cried, he didn't offer solutions, he offered presence. Aquarius doesn't need constant closeness, but if they give you space inside their silence, You've already been chosen. 5. The Overthinker's Paradox. Aquarius is the architect of invisible mazes, ones they build inside their minds. Logic is their compass, but emotion is the storm they often try to predict, control, or ignore. They think, then rethink, then deconstruct what they just rethought. It's a paradox, brilliance wrapped in restlessness. I met a woman named Camille, an Aquarius born under a snowstorm in Vermont. She once stayed up 3 nights in a row debating whether to move across the country for a job she was already qualified for. Not because she lacked confidence, but because she saw every possible future play out in her head. Every outcome, every misstep, every moment she might regret. In the end, she moved, but not until she'd mentally lived there for months. This is the paradox. Aquarius seems effortless from the outside, but their inner world is a galaxy of projections and patterns. They don't fear decisions. They fear missing the version of themselves that could have been. 6. The ego resistance. Aquarius doesn't chase the spotlight. They don't need applause to validate their presence. Praise makes them uncomfortable, like wearing clothes that don't quite fit. Ego to them is a wall that blocks connection. And they're here to build bridges, not castles. I once met an Aquarius named Rio, a tech innovator who quietly led a billion-dollar startup. While others posted photos from boardrooms, he posted pictures of clouds. When someone asked why he didn't claim more credit, he replied, "Because the idea wasn't mine. It was floating, and I happened to catch it." That's the Aquarian mindset, service over status. They gravitate toward humility, not out of modesty, but out of design. They know true power doesn't scream, it hums beneath the surface. And if someone enters a room trying to dominate it, Aquarius will be the first to walk out. Not because they're weak, but because they're allergic to artifice. 7. The Sacred Sarcasm. Aquarius speaks in riddles, wrapped in wit. Their humor is dry, precise, and often mistaken for cynicism. But if you listen closely, sarcasm is their shield. It protects their tenderness. They joke not to mock, but to reveal truths that are too raw to say outright. It's laughter as self-defense, irony as intuition. There's this artist I once met, Theo, an Aquarius from Portland. During a dinner, someone said, "You're so emotionally unavailable." He smiled, sipped his wine, and replied, "I'm not unavailable. I just don't like renting out my heart without a deposit." Everyone laughed, but underneath that line was a lifetime of carefully gated trust. Aquarius humor has layers. You laugh first, then feel the echo hours later. They'll roast you lovingly and challenge you with grace, and if you catch the double meaning, you're probably someone they trust. Their sarcasm isn't cruelty, it's code. And when they let you decode it, you're already inside their circle. 8. The circle within the circle. Aquarius doesn't let just anyone in. Their social world might seem wide, full of acquaintances, collaborators, orbiting souls, but their true circle differs. It's smaller, softer, sacred, a circle within the circle. And once you're in, you're family. I remember a filmmaker named Juno, born January 24th, who once said, "I have thousands of followers, but only 3 people who know what I look like when I'm scared." That's the essence of it. Aquarius might publicly share their ideas, projects, even their heartbreaks, but their vulnerability, that stays behind a carefully guarded door. If you're invited in, know this: it wasn't casual. It was a cosmic decision. Aquarius chooses their people like constellations, aligned, rare, and meant to be seen together. And once you're out of their inner orbit, they'll defend your name like it's their loyalty. Unshakable, forever. 9. The storm behind the smile. Aquarius can light up a room without saying much. They'll smile, nod, laugh at the right moments. You'd never guess what's happening underneath. But behind that calm exterior storm brews, made of thoughts unsaid, feelings unprocessed, and pain carried in silence. A nurse named Ivy, born February 11th, volunteered through 2 hurricanes and 3 personal breakups without missing a shift. When asked how she coped, she simply said, "I don't have time to fall, eh?" Her smile was genuine, but it held everything together. This is what people miss. Aquarius isn't emotionless. They're emotional in private. Their grief doesn't demand attention. It asks for solitude. When they're hurting, they disappear into music, books, and long drives at midnight. And if they show up smiling anyway, it's not fake. It's survival. They don't want pity. They want peace. And if you can sit beside their silence without needing answers, they might let you stay. 10. The fierce independence. Aquarius doesn't ask for help easily, not because they don't need it, but because they've spent their whole life learning to survive without it. Independence isn't just a trait, it's their foundation. Their freedom is oxygen, and anything that threatens it, even love, can feel like suffocation. Ezra, an Aquarius I once met on a cross-country train, told me, "I'd rather struggle on my own than succeed on someone else's leash." He wasn't being dramatic. He was being honest. There's a kind of nobility in the Aquarian solitude. They don't seek rescue. They seek understanding. They'll build their path, even if it takes longer. They'll carry burdens alone, not out of pride, but because relying on others feels like handing over the keys to their identity. But here's the truth. Behind that fierce autonomy is a soul quietly aching to be seen for who they are, not who they're expected to be. 11. The beautiful misunderstanding. Aquarius is often misunderstood. Strangely, they've made peace with that. They don't expect to be easy to read. Their thoughts live in constellations, not straight lines. Their love feels like space, not gravity. And so people try to label them cold, distant, strange. But those labels miss the point entirely. May, an Aquarian poet from Seattle, once said, "People think I don't feel. The truth is, I feel in ways they haven't invented words for yet." That's it. Aquarius expresses through essence, not convention. They show care through freedom, offer loyalty through silence, and give love by letting you go and trusting you'll return. They're not broken. They're just wired differently. And maybe that's the beauty of it. The world sees a riddle, but those who listen with their heart instead of judgment will realize Aquarius isn't hard to understand. They're just not here to be explained. 12. The embrace of change. Aquarius doesn't fear change, they crave it. While others seek comfort in repetition, Aquarius looks at the unknown and sees potential. It's not chaos they chase, it's evolution. Stability can feel like stagnation to them. They grow by shedding skins. I once met Leon, an Aquarius who moved to 6 cities in 5 years. When asked why he never stayed put, he said, "Because the moment a place feels predictable, I stop hearing myself think." That's how it works. Aquarius listens to the pulse of possibility. They don't resist endings, they read them as invitations. Change to them is sacred. A new job, a new city, a new version of the self. They're not running away, they're rotating like a planet turning toward its next sunrise. And if you love them, you'll have to love their motion too, because Aquarius was never meant to be still. 13. The quiet rebellion. Aquarius doesn't raise fists, they raise questions. Their rebellion is rarely loud, but it is constant. They resist not through conflict, but through refusal. Refusal to conform, to obey unthinkingly, to shrink themselves for comfort. Their favorite word might just be, why? Elliot, an Aquarius I interviewed for a documentary, was expelled from high school for refusing to stand during the anthem. Not out of disrespect, but out of thought. He said, "Patriotism means nothing without accountability." That's how Aquarians rebel, with principle, not impulse. They're allergic to control, instinctively walking in the opposite direction when told how to live, how to love, how to think. But this rebellion isn't reckless, it's sacred. It's about protecting the sovereignty of thought. Aquarius believes the soul wasn't born to kneel. It was born to question, to invent, and above all, to be free. 14. The wisdom of mistakes. Aquarius doesn't avoid mistakes, they study them like artifacts. They replay conversations, analyze choices, and trace the cracks back to their source. But unlike others, they don't collapse under regret. They extract meaning. They adapt. An Aquarius and former startup founder Mira once told me, "Failure isn't a failure if it transforms you." Her first business didn't last. Her second one thrived because she built it with the lessons her ego once ignored. That's how Aquarians operate. They don't repeat missteps, not out of fear, but because they've already rewritten the formula in their minds. Their miscalculations are composted for future brilliance. And when they fall, they rise differently. Not harder, not colder, just wiser, and somehow more free. 15. The unorthodox creator. Aquarius doesn't color inside the lines. They dissolve the page and paint in the air. Their creativity is strange, brilliant, and untamed. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't follow the rules. It invents new ones. Take Rowan, a self-taught inventor from Austin. While others designed faster phones, Rowan built wearable tech that translated mood into light. When asked why, they shrugged and said, "Because words fail me." That's the Aquarian magic. They solve problems no one else sees by stepping sideways into possibility. Their minds are playgrounds for patterns no blueprint could predict. They aren't driven by tradition. They're moved by vision. And sometimes their ideas sound impossible, until they aren't. To the world, it looks like rebellion. But to Aquarius, it's simply honesty, creating not what exists, but what should. 16. The soulful listener. Aquarius doesn't just hear your words, they absorb the frequency underneath them. When they listen, it's not to reply, it's to understand. Their presence feels like a pause in time, a breath you didn't know you were holding. They hold space, without pressure, without judgment. I once met Clara, a hospice nurse born on February 5th. Patients told her secrets they hadn't shared in decades. She never gave advice, she just listened. One man told her, "You made me feel like my story mattered." That's the Aquarian gift, offering quiet dignity to unheard voices. Their wisdom doesn't shout, it arrives softly, often between silences. Aquarius will ask questions that shift your perspective gently, like a tide. They won't fix you, but they'll remind you you're not broken. That kind of listening, it's rare. It's healing. It's holy. 17. The seeker of knowledge. Aquarius is a lifelong student, not of textbooks, but of existence. They collect questions like constellations. They're unsatisfied with answers. They want frameworks, patterns, and truths that shift with the light. Knowledge isn't a destination, it's their way of breathing. There's Jace, an Aquarian software architect who keeps journals filled not with code, but with observations about time, memory, and dreams. He once told me, "I don't learn to succeed, I learn to stay alive." That's the Aquarian soul, hungry, awake, always reaching. They read 5 books at once, lose hours down philosophical rabbit holes, and get lost in museums like temples. But it's not about intellect, it's about meaning. Aquarius wants to understand what connects all things, what threads hold the universe together. They don't seek degrees, they seek clarity. And the moment they feel they've found it, they ask another question. 18. The gentle forgiver. Aquarius forgives in a way that feels quiet, almost invisible. They won't make a show of it. There's no grand speech, no emotional ceremony. One day you'll realize the door is still open and they never held a grudge. But make no mistake, their forgiveness isn't naive. It's thoughtful, measured. Sometimes they are too generous. I met Sam, an Aquarius who forgave a friend who betrayed him deeply, not because he forgot, but because he refused to carry bitterness any longer. "I wanted my peace back," he told me. "Not the friendship." That's the line Aquarius walks. They believe in second chances, but not third. Their grace is real, but it has a boundary. They forgive to free themselves, not to enable harm. It's not about forgetting what happened. It's about remembering who they are and refusing to become hardened by someone else's cruelty. 19. The courage of conviction. Aquarius doesn't shout to be heard. They speak when it matters, and when they do, it's with a clarity that cuts through the noise. Their convictions run deep, formed through thought, intuition, and observation. They don't believe unquestioningly. They believe boldly. Layla, a civic organizer born February 6th, once stood alone at a protest where everyone else left. She didn't carry signs. She just stood, silent, still, unmoving. "I didn't need a crowd," she said. "I needed truth." That's Aquarius. They don't need approval to do what they feel is right. They'll listen to every side. They'll welcome nuance. But once they've made peace with their position, it becomes a quiet anchor, not stubbornness, integrity. And they're not afraid to be the only voice in the room saying, "I see it differently." Because Aquarius wasn't born to echo, they were born to resonate. 20. The wholly eccentric. Aquarius is weird, and thank God for that. They wear mismatched socks to board meetings. They name their plants after philosophers. They laugh at things no one else finds funny. And somehow, in all that randomness, there's purpose. There's truth. Dorian, an Aquarian painter from Santa Fe, once told me, "I don't try to be different. I just never learned how to be normal." His studio looked like a dream exploded, but every brushstroke held a system, a rhythm, a logic that was his alone. Aquarius doesn't perform their eccentricity. It's their native language. Their minds run on frequencies the rest of us don't always catch, but those close to them, they know. The strangeness is sacred. It's not for spectacle, it's soul. And loving an Aquarius means learning to find poetry in the peculiar. 21. The relentless dreamer. Aquarius dreams in blueprints and stardust. Their visions aren't just hopes, but blueprints for a better world. They see what could be long before we believe it's possible. And once they set their mind to something, there's no stopping them. Avi, an Aquarian community builder in Detroit, once said, "It's not about whether the dream is realistic, it's about whether it's necessary." He built a neighborhood farm on abandoned land and fed over 100 families within a year. That's the Aquarian way. They don't wait for permission. They move as if the future is already happening, and they're just catching up to it. You might not understand them. You might call them idealists. But those who doubt them forget that Aquarius doesn't dream of applause. They dream because the world depends on it. So now you've seen the 21 layers of Aquarius. The quiet fire, the thoughtful rebellion, the laughter that hides wisdom, the distance that holds devotion. They're not contradictions, they're constellations of a soul drawn by something far more significant than this world. Aquarius doesn't just think differently, they are different. And maybe that's the gift. Aquarius teaches us the power of standing out in a world that asks you to fit in, of thinking deeply and loving quietly and dreaming wildly. They remind us that not every truth needs to be loud. Some truths whisper. If you're an Aquarius, remember, your path may not always make sense to others. Walk it anyway. Your difference is not your burden. It's your design. And if you love an Aquarius, hold space for them. Don't chase their silence. Honor it. That's where they're building entire universes you may one day be invited into. Thank you for taking this journey with me. If even one of these secrets helped you feel more seen, or helped you see someone else more clearly, then the stars have done their work. Before you leave, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. You are of something sacred here, and at Zodiac Whisper, the universe always has more to say. Until next time, stay strange, stay wise, stay cosmic.